Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of our NAWBO Member Love Live. I am joined today by Lillia Sanders of Skillia Business Solutions. Hi, Lillia, how are you?
Oh, I am great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, indeed. All right, so we are excited to learn from you and learn more about Skillia. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
So we provide bookkeeping and fractional CFO services. And what that pretty much means is for my personal example in life, when I was 25, I had an angel investor wanting numbers, wanting projections, wanting a business plan. And because I went to school for it, which was really great, I went to school for business. That was my first experience of the importance of numbers, analyzation, forecast, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so, needless to say, we got the money. And then I just kind of experienced embezzlement and all kinds of crazy stuff, which led even more to just trusting your gut. Even like starting a business for most entrepreneurs, they're like, they don't know what's going on. And for me, it's very personal because what we do is not only like really detailed bookkeeping for service-based businesses, but we
Mhm.
also, my personal experience of, like I said, the embezzlement, needing to have accurate numbers. I literally call the IRS. After about a year, I was like, I think I'm supposed to be paying you payroll taxes. How does that work? And so I don't judge. I've been there, done that, didn't know what I was doing. And so I like to come in and just be a partner to people who are trying to get an SBA loan, who are funded startups. I deal with a lot of legal tech and healthcare because I came out of healthcare. So those are the main people that I service. And yeah, we explain the numbers, we clean up anything that needs to be analyzed, and then we try to create peace and a level of understanding because most people are really great at what they do. But the number side is something where it's a very vulnerable place to be in. And so that's what we do. We help people gain understanding, clarity without judgment, and a lot of compassion as well.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, and I think too, to your point, it's not ideal to discover that you've got an issue, later down the road. But if you're digging, if you just kind of stick your head in the sand and try to ignore it, it's only going to be worse.
Yes,
But I think a lot of times it's like if you have a trusted advisor, by your
exactly.
side, they're like, it's not a big deal. It's going to be
Yes.
okay. We're going to
Yes.
plan together and figure it out. And, as long as the government is getting some kind of money from you, they're willing to work with you, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's we've all been there and it's very common. I feel like people are like they don't know at what point they need help unless a lot of times, like I said, especially when they're trying to sell a business and things like that. That's where we work a lot with too.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming if they know they have money, but they don't know where it's going, where it's they know where it's coming from. But sometimes it's as long as we have cash in the bank, or they don't know why they don't have cash in the bank. And
Mm.
having somebody, even on a fractional level, to help explain that kind of stuff is so valuable. Do you mind if I share a recent story?
Of course, please.
Okay, so a couple of case studies. I had a client who was doing payroll and their stuff wasn't matching. And when you have somebody in there looking, they could point things out. And it turns out $1,800, sure enough, is being redeposited into one of their staff's account. Every single, yes. And so this kind of stuff adds up if you don't keep an eye on it. I also had another client recently, both high revenue, $1 million plus. And the deposits were being made into his account. And if you don't have somebody coming and reconciling, making sure things are going on, it costs him almost $300,000 worth of pre-tax payments. Yes, because things were being missed in the
Mhm.
accounting. And so it's so important. It could cost you more not to have somebody looking at stuff
Right.
than to try to, like you said, stick your head in the sand and hope that your business stays afloat.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So what, you mentioned your background, you have, experience in that sort of panic and, oh my gosh, what do I do kind of moment.
I do.
Um, so what do you feel like when people come to you, what's kind of your first step? Like, okay, let's get the lay of the land here. What
Mhm.
does that look like to work with you guys?
Yeah. So the first thing we do is a full-on analysis. And what that means is, I mean, I'll spot anything within minutes, but we sit down together because a lot of times they're intimidated to look. So it's like I kind of hold their hand. Let's go through this together. I will not look and just submit a report. We're looking at it. If you don't know, it's okay. But let me show you what's going on so you can get used to it. I really, 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 really enjoy working with people who will at least take the time to look with me. They don't have to understand everything, but getting them comfortable enough to look at their books and just see the transaction, see what's going on, because that removes room for error and it gets them involved. It builds confidence because they're like, okay, I don't understand everything, but I can make more educated decisions when I have somebody to kind of explain it with me.
Got it.
Or go through it with me. Yeah. So we do an analysis, we look at it together, and then I take it from there.
Awesome. How did you make your way to San Antonio? Were you born and raised here? Were you a transplant? Are you one of those like, I'm not from Texas, but I got here as fast as I could kind of story?
That's a good, though I love it. I'm originally from Illinois, born and raised in Illinois, Midwest. And yeah, did not like the cold at all.
I'm from Indiana, so I get it. We have that in common.
Yes. And so, no, how soon can I get to the warm weather? Southern hospitality is a thing I realize. When it's sunny, people are happier. When it's half the year gloomy, it's a different kind of feel.
Cool.
So, yeah, I've only been in San Antonio. I've been here for less than a year, and that's kind of what drew me to NAWBO, actually.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. I always tell people too, I feel like there is some commonality between the good parts of the Midwest where people do like they step up for their neighbors. They're willing to, help out however they can, all of that kind of stuff. The South and Texas specifically absolutely has a very like similar kind of, ways to build community. So
yeah, I agree.
And San Antonio in particular too. I think
I agree.
Go to a Dallas or a Houston, it's different, right?
I agree.
Very cool. Very cool. So for your side, is there a ideal client profile for you? Is it $1 million plus is where your sweet spot is? Is it you're just barely starting out? You've made $2 so far. I can still help.
No, that's a great question. So yeah, it's usually $1 million plus if they're in a position to sell, if it's a funded startup, because a lot of times they have to report to investors. And so that's another sweet spot. But I typically target people in the legal field, tech field, and the healthcare field. And yeah, like I said, they're usually established businesses or funded startups that are small to medium and service-based. I don't work with a lot of products, but people who provide high-level services and generate high revenue. And they just need insight. And then anyone who, like I said, is applying for loans, business plans, things like that, those are kind of one-off projects we do where they have to have their numbers in order to sell, like I said, or scale or get approval for funding or through investors. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So legal, tech, healthcare, of those three, which would you say is your favorite to work in?
Favorite? I don't know if I have favorites, but right now I am really enjoying dealing with legal, the attorneys and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Those billable hours, man.
Exactly.
Coming. Absolutely. Must be nice. No, I love that you have, sort of those three different areas, because at least for me too, we're the same. We're always kind of bopping between different worlds. And I would think, for you loving the numbers and all of that, it's still fun to see how different industries.
Oh, yes.
Very cool. Very cool. So for you, do you have in your roster, do you have a good amount of female founders, women business owners? Is that something you want to, grow into and start working with more, fellow women business owners?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, I would love to grow into that more. And that's why I wanted to expound because unfortunately what I had seen is a lot of the high revenue, there wasn't a lot of female business owners. There was like the office managers a lot of times were women. But in my field, just in my experience, I should say, I didn't get to work with, but I enjoyed working with a lot of women. And so, yeah, that's something I would love to expound on more. As we grow, like women are really growing in the business space. And so it's easier to find that versus decades ago when I started, it just wasn't, women weren't really leading
Right.
high revenue companies, unfortunately, at that time.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I think too, it takes time as a business owner to feel like seven figures is within reach. Like, obviously you're not going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
$1 million company. But
yeah,
there also is sort of that limiting belief of like, I'm
exactly.
happy with what I have. I'm just happy
Yes,
like paying my bills.
yes.
And you kind of get to the point where you're like, no, I'm going for
Right?
it.
And I love seeing more women do that, including myself.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think they talk about female founders tend to run more overall profitable businesses. And I think it is because we have a little bit of that caution and kind of playing it a little bit
Mm,
close to the vest for a while. But there does kind of come that point where you're like, all right, let's really, go full pedal to the metal
mhm,
kind of thing.
mhm.
So I love that you can kind of walk alongside them for that journey.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Very cool. All right.
Mhm.
So I'm sure it's a busy time of year for you right now. If you've
It
got
is.
somebody who's listening and they're like, okay, I really definitely want to reach out and see if she can help. Is it too late for 2025, or 2024, I guess, hey, we still need to get our books and everything in order.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
too late for that? Or, hey, no problem, reach out, we can help.
You know what, Aquila? It's probably more common for people to reach out now, get and file an extension. And then because a lot of times this is the time where they're like, never again, I'm behind again, I'm late again. And so no, it's never too late. The longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you with late fees and penalties. So yes,
Mm,
it's so important. But believe it or not, like March, April is kind of, that's almost my sweet spot too. People who are finally slowing down enough to look and wanting to do something different this year moving forward. And so,
yeah.
no, it's not too late. And like I said, I won't judge you if you do come even on April 14th or March 14th. It's okay. Like as long as you're doing something. And I'm very encouraging by nature. And so look, we will figure it out. We will get through it. But no, you could book a consult, or if your books are closed but you don't have any good financial, you want to know what happened. You might be in the red, you might be in the black, but you want to sit down and kind of see what's happening, and then
Mm,
have a good plan for 2025. Now would
mm,
be a good time. The end of the quarter is the end of the month. We can see what's going on with your first quarter compared to last year. There's a lot of good things that could happen around this time.
right. Okay.
Mhm.
Awesome. So you mentioned that being new to San Antonio was kind of how you came to and found NAWBO. Do you remember? Was it like from the marketing perspective? I love hearing people's journeys of like, no, I just straight Googled it, or no, I saw
Uh-huh.
an ad, or I saw this.
Mhm.
Remember what that was for you to discover the organization?
Interestingly enough, it was another CFO, fellow CFO person from that I know, and she was based in LA. So we're in our own little group. She told me
Okay.
about NAWBO, and it wasn't even marketing; it was word of mouth. And so
Okay.
I was like, "Is it a national?" I had no idea what it was, but I knew I wanted to connect with other women, especially being new to the area, and just something solid. And she was a solid woman. So whatever she was a part of, I wanted to
Mhm.
be a part of. And
Yes.
so, yeah, she had talked about so well of it. And so it was word of mouth for me where she told me about it. Had no idea San Antonio was one of the largest. I was like, oh, there happens to be one had no clue.
Right. Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was going to say is I'm so glad that, you were able to join our chapter because it is definitely one of the more robust. I always love when we go to our national conference and we tell other chapters how many events we do, even like per month, per week, like gosh, sometimes per day. Um, and they're like, what? They're like, we're doing like one a quarter and we're struggling. So
Really?
it's a very big like just difference between some of the more active chapters versus
Yeah.
active. And some of them are smaller memberships. It doesn't make
That
sense for
makes
them to
sense.
try to plan 80
Yeah.
million. Like I get it. But I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you're based
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And glad your friend shared her experience there in LA. So
Mhm.
what would you say has been the most rewarding part so far of your membership? How has it kind of evolved since you joined?
So I do have to give you credit because you were kind of my first impression. So January,
Okay.
yeah. So January was my first NAWBO event, and so you taught at that. Actually, I'd
Yay.
signed up for just like a finance thing because I'm in finance, and Melissa was a part of it. And she had taught on that. And I was like, okay, this is nice. But that event where you guys had photo shoots and you were teaching, and I was telling you like, oh, I took your advice. But yeah, you were so good. You were really good at teaching very simple, immediate, actionable steps on creating videos and contents and stuff like that. So the value that I got from that first event, even from you, like I enjoy doing videos. I hated it. And then you're like, just, you made it more fun and less pressure. So thank you. But yeah, little things like that. I was like, okay, NAWBO is really surrounded with givers. It's really not competitive. It's like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And so meeting the president, got to know her. Everyone was just really friendly. They weren't like, I'm up here, you're down here. I did the millionaire mentorship, and it was like a 10-minute, one-on-one. Just the fact that, like I said, everyone seems so willing to help. And it's been really motivating for me just as a woman, even getting out the house, but connecting with other moms and hearing other people's stories, and just very relatable, but also quality content to apply to your business. Your everyday business has been great.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That was actually our first time doing an event that style. For those of you who weren't able to join us, it was more of a almost like speed dating, I would say.
It was.
Where it was like you had your tables and kind of mini, and we're talking mini, like I think next time we would love to have a little bit more time with everybody, but very quick kind of mini workshops, and you just bopped around to, the topics that interest you. There were more options than you had, the ability to make that single event, but you could kind of prioritize like what topics you actually wanted to do. So yeah, I loved it. Michael, our programming chair, did a great job, and Christine as well. That was a huge lift to get that first iteration of the event off the ground.
Really, you guys nailed it. I was hooked after that.
Love to hear that, especially in January, where everybody's like, "I'm going to do it all this year. We're going to achieve
exactly." That was definitely me. I love with the headshot. That's the headshot I had posted. I was like, this is cool. And I got to meet a lot of people, because the cool thing about that is it was kind of more intimate. So you're meeting the people you're sitting next to, you're learning from somebody who's an expert, and so I'm sure a lot of people recognize you just from that event. It's kind of, and it was just everyone was happy, everyone was friendly, and all the content was good. All the tables were phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. No, I really enjoyed that for sure. And you've done a little bit of volunteering with our mentorship program as well. Is that right?
Yes. And that has been so rewarding as well. And that's what you said about San Antonio. There's so many things to do. There's so many ways to learn and grow in areas of expertise, or your lack of expertise. But also, there's a lot of ways to contribute. And so back in the day, I worked for Girl Scouts, and I used to work with the volunteers, but it was with the middle school and high school. And it's since starting a family and even running a business, I just really didn't have a chance to do that. And so knowing that you guys do so much in the community was so rewarding. And so there's the business plan competition. Yeah. And so I'm going to be judging for that. But they had a more recent event where we had to give them, it was kind of like the table setting too, but they would sit with other business owners, the high school students, it's high school girls who are signed up for the mentorship program. And it allowed me to sit with them, give them input, reread their business plans, teach them ways to tweak it. My topic at the time was vision and mission statements. And so hearing the passion of these girls blew my mind. Their business plans were phenomenal. And the fact that there's scholarships that they'll be receiving is such a beautiful thing. And so, I got to sit with them. And then the cool thing is it's kind of ongoing. So they're like, can I have your email? So I got an email from one of them this week asking, can I look at it again? And they're just so hungry. But the fact that I get it's something I haven't done in so long. And the fact that you guys provide that and I can connect and partner up with it is such a beautiful thing. And so, that was such a nice event to sit with the girls and kind of pour into them, hear their leadership, hear their thoughts, hear their ambitions, and then, impact the next generation.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny because I was at a leadership event for women business owners this weekend for adult women business owners. And so many of us were talking about, there could have been one person in high school or middle school or whoever who either told you you can do this, or somebody who was just that little kind of
Yes.
devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And the difference in, and all of these women went on to still achieve great things, but the difference of like how much that led when it was a negative experience, it just took so, even today, they're still
Yes.
struggling with the pain and the hurt behind that.
Mm.
Versus if you have someone positive speaking into your life and saying, I believe in you, even if it's not family, even if it's just,
Right?
it was, I mean, some of these women were, coming up on retirement and they still,
Wow.
so the fact that you've, been able to kind of have that impact on some of those women and lead, them in that way, I think is just phenomenal. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Like I said, I didn't even know that was an option, honestly. I'm just like, oh, this is all business. I'm still learning and growing in all things NAWBO. But the fact that, you guys are that involved in the community and with the schools and stuff. Like I couldn't do this without an organization like this. And even you sharing that is such a beautiful thing, as far as decades later, they may remember what we've done, what we said, or how excited we were for their vision or their dream. And it's humbling.
Well, and how many times too in your line of work do you hear women say, oh, I can't do math. Oh, numbers aren't my thing. Oh, I don't want to. And again, like even just me personally, I can remember a math teacher who said, oh, we're not going to put you in the advanced math class because we don't know if you can handle it. Like I
Interesting.
remember that. So
Interesting.
have you had moments where you feel like, okay, particularly for me being somebody who loves that side, STEM, math, anything along those lines, pouring into girls that you can, if you love this, if you can do it, like go after it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's funny because I had an experience not too long ago with the opposite, and it's crazy how we still deal with this now, whether ungrateful clients or just people who do not, that try to like take away, devalue you, and so it's I feel like it's so important, not only for these girls, but even as adults, like you said, women who are still being hurt by it, but also, like you said, you remember that somebody told you you were limited or try to limit you. And so the beautiful thing with the business plan is they could dream, there is no limit to what they can do. And I think for me, the vision and the helping them with their vision and mission statement, a lot of it was, they would tell me their what they want to do and why. And I was like, that has to translate. Because it was like this cookie cutter vision. But I was like, no, talk about, and you do more marketing than I do, but talk about what it is and get excited about it. And I think sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to be excited, or because of fear, maybe from other experiences of somebody trying to dumb us down or limit us. And so, it was good to kind of pull that out of them. Like, what your ideas is phenomenal. Let's talk about it more. Like, let's be free in the impact that you're trying to make, or you're going to make, or the business that you're going to do. But I love even that stage because it allows them to dream and hopefully keep dreaming up until retirement, like the lady you referred to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I love that, because I think, again, it's just all about not letting girls lose the confidence that they had when they were 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're like sassy. I have a almost 10-year-old, and my gosh, the confidence is so off the chart.
Really? Yeah, I have 3 girls too, and the same thing. My oldest is 8, and then I have a 5 and 6, and they are as confident as can be. And you want to protect that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you do see that shift when they get to middle school and high school and all of that, where, even if you've done a great job of building them up, it takes that 1 or 2 people to kind of make them question, okay, can I do this? Am I still? So you've got to be able to combat it with, and again, at that point, mom is no longer, the voice of reason. It's like, I need a mentor. I need somebody else.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
That I can do this kind of thing. I love that. And really, truly, like our, mentorship program, we actually, our gala coming up will be a moment for them to be recognized and raise some funds for that organization. And then one of our monthly meetings coming up, our mentors or our scholarship winners will come and get to
Nice.
our business owners and our attendees of the monthly meeting. And that's always a really great event to kind of see from, the winning, business plan presentations. But it touches so many more lives than just those few kids that actually win the scholarship. So it's really wonderful. So Lillia, if folks are interested in connecting with you, if they want to reach out, tell us a little bit more about how they can get in touch with you.
All right. So if you want to reach out to me, you could always go to my business page at skilliabusiness.com. I would love to connect through LinkedIn or Facebook. Either one's fine. But professionally, usually I just use LinkedIn. You'll find a lot of great content on there. And I'm always doing fun interviews and stuff like that. And so, yeah, find me on LinkedIn, go on my website. If you want to book something, you could find a link to book me through my website or sign up for newsletters. I could give you tips and insight into financial things. I also do training sometimes. And so that's something you're looking for. I could help you kind of get organized and more confident in what's going on with your finances for 2025 and give some really good insights.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Mm-hmm. All right. Fantastic. Well, if you have been tuning in and you are curious to learn more about NAWBO, there is that QR code right above us here to lead you to find out more about our upcoming events. But you can also poke around our website, take a look at any of the information we have there on that as far as the organization as a whole. And we actually just kicked off our membership drive at the beginning of March. So if you are curious about becoming a member, if you want to rub shoulders with women like Lillia, absolutely join the organization right now for a little bit of a discount on your registration fee. So that will be nice and helpful when we're all trying to save our pennies for tax season at the moment. So we would love to see you there. We would love to have you and even attend as a guest a couple times to see if it's a good fit. But thank you so much, Lillia, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Anything else? Any final thoughts that you want to share?
You know what? I just want to encourage all business owners out there, women, men, whatever. Just know that we're all figuring out, we're all doing our best, and you guys are doing a great job. Whether you know your numbers or not, it will all work out in the end. And so moms, all of us trying to juggle it, we're all doing our best, and none of us are experts. We're experts at what we do, but there's always something we can learn. And so just stay positive and stay encouraged with your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lillia. It was an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate